My name is Eleanor. I am 92 years old, and I need to talk to you today because I don't know how many more chances I'll get. Now, before you worry, I'm not sick. I'm actually in pretty good shape for 92. My doctor in Tucson says I'm one of his most surprising patients. But at my age, you start thinking about what matters. You start thinking about what you wish you had said sooner. So today, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to share the things I've learned, the mistakes I've made, and the simple truths that took me almost a century to understand. Some of this might surprise you. Some of it might even bother you a little. But I promise, every word comes from love. Because if I can save you even 1 year of unnecessary worry, or 1 decade of living smaller than you deserve, then this conversation is worth everything. Are you ready? Good. Let's talk. I was born in 1933. Franklin Roosevelt was president. We didn't have television yet. My mother cooked everything from scratch, and my father walked 2 miles to work every single day. I've outlived 2 husbands, 1 of my children, most of my friends, and honestly, I've outlived my own expectations. When I turned 65, I thought, well, that's probably it. I'll slow down, sit in the rocking chair, and wait for the grandkids to visit. That's what you did back then. That's what everyone told us getting old meant. But here I am at 92, and I want to tell you something important. That old idea about what getting old means, it almost stole my life. Not almost killed me. Almost stole my life. There's a difference, and I don't want that to happen to you. The first thing I need to tell you is about fear. When I was 71, my doctor found something on my mammogram. I sat in that cold little room in my paper gown, and I felt the floor disappear beneath me. I was convinced my life was over. It turned out to be nothing serious. A small cyst, completely benign. But do you know what I did in those 2 weeks? Well, I waited for my results. I stopped going to my Tuesday card game. I stopped calling my sister Barbara in Phoenix. I stopped cooking my favorite meals because I thought, what's the point? Fear did that, not the cyst. Fear, and I've watched it happen to so many people I love. My neighbor Robert was 74, sharp as a tack, with a wonderful sense of humor. He got a diagnosis that scared him, and instead of fighting, he folded. He stopped doing the things that made him Robert. He passed 2 years later. But I'll tell you honestly, the Robert I knew had already been gone for a while. You are not your diagnosis. You are not your age. And fear, while it is completely natural and completely human, is not a plan. So the first thing I'm asking you to do today is to please talk to your doctor. Don't wait. Don't guess. Don't read things on the internet at midnight and terrify yourself. Just call and ask. Knowledge, even scary knowledge, is almost always better than the stories we tell ourselves in the dark. And while we're talking about fear, I want to address something else that I see stealing joy from people my age every single day. The fear of being a burden. Oh, how many people I have known who suffered in silence because they didn't want to bother their children, who skipped medications because they felt guilty about the cost, who sat alone in pain rather than pick up the phone and say, I need help. My friend Dorothy's husband, George, was 77. Strong man, proud man. Spent 40 years as a plumber in Dallas. Never asked anyone for a single thing. When his hips started giving out, He just limped around for 2 years before Dorothy finally dragged him to the doctor. 2 years. He had a condition that could have been treated much sooner. And all that time, he was telling himself he didn't want to be a burden. Here is what I want you to hear clearly. Asking for help is not a weakness. It is not a burden. It is wisdom. The people who love you, WANT, to help. They would rather know than wonder. They would rather you call than suffer quietly. You spent decades taking care of everyone else. You are allowed to let someone take care of you sometimes. Please remember that now. The second thing I want to tell you might sound strange, coming from a 92-year-old woman. I want to talk about your body, not in a medical way, not with big words, just honestly, the way a friend would. I spent most of my 50s and 60s fighting my body. My knees hurt and I was angry at them. My energy wasn't what it used to be, and I resented that. I looked in the mirror and I thought, where did I go? What a waste of time that was. Your body, whatever shape it's in right now, has carried you through decades of life. It held your babies. It danced at weddings. It sat up all night when someone you loved needed you. It showed up, day after day. For everything. When I finally stopped fighting my body and started working with it, everything changed. At 78, my doctor suggested water aerobics. I thought that sounded ridiculous. I pictured old ladies with swim caps flopping around in a pool. But my friend Dorothy, who was 76 at the time, dragged me to a class at the YMCA in our neighborhood. I went back every week for 11 years. My balance improved. My mood improved. I slept better. I made friends I never would have met otherwise. And at 89, I was still doing things my 60-year-old daughter struggled with. I'm not telling you to join a water aerobics class. Although honestly, don't knock it until you try it. I'm telling you that movement, whatever movement your body can do today, is medicine. It doesn't need to be hard. It doesn't need to hurt. A 15-minute walk around your block counts. Stretching in your kitchen while the coffee brews counts. Talk to your doctor before starting anything new, especially if you have heart issues or joint problems. But please don't let another month go by thinking it's too late to move. It is never too late. And while we're on the subject of your body, I want to talk about sleep for just a moment. Because I hear from so many people my age that they are not sleeping well, and they've just accepted it as normal. They wake up at 3 in the morning and stare at the ceiling. They feel exhausted all day, but can't rest at night. And they figure, well, this is just what happens when you get old. But poor sleep is not something you just have to accept. It affects your memory, it affects your mood, it affects your heart health and your immune system. And there are real, practical things your doctor can help you with. I went through a terrible stretch of insomnia after Harold passed. I was averaging maybe 4 hours a night for almost 6 months. I finally told my doctor, and she didn't just hand me sleeping pills. She asked me questions. She looked at my whole picture. We made some small changes to my evening routine, my bedroom temperature, and even the timing of my medications. And slowly things improved. Please tell your doctor if you're not sleeping. Don't just suffer through it. It is a real health issue that deserves a real conversation. Asterisk, let me stop for a second and ask you something directly. When was the last time you did something just because it made you happy? Not because it was practical, not because it helped someone else, just because you wanted to do it. Think about that for a moment. Here is the thing nobody tells you about getting older. The thing that took me until my 80s to really understand. Your happiness is not a luxury. It is a healthy decision. I know that sounds soft. I come from a generation that didn't talk about feelings much. You worked hard, you took care of your family, and you didn't complain. That's just how it was. But the research, and I've had plenty of time to read, shows clearly that lonely seniors get sicker faster. Depressed seniors have higher rates of heart disease. People who feel purposeless after retirement, they decline in ways that have nothing to do with their physical health. I lost my second husband, Harold, when I was 80. We had been married for 31 years. When he passed, I won't sugarcoat it. I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't see the point of meals or phone calls or any of it. My daughter finally sat me down and said, "Mum, you have to find a reason." So I did something that felt ridiculous at the time. I volunteered at my local library, reading to children. On Wednesday afternoons, I was 81 years old, reading picture books to 5-year-olds. And I am telling you, it saved me. Those children didn't care that I was 81. They didn't treat me like I was fragile or finished. They just wanted the story. They looked up at me like I was wonderful. And slowly, very slowly, I started to feel wonderful again. Asterisk purpose is not something that disappears when you retire or when your children grow up. It is something you have to choose, sometimes over and over again. What gives you purpose? What makes you feel useful and alive? Whatever that thing is, please protect it. Feed it. Say yes to it even when it's easier to stay home. Now I want to talk about something practical for a minute. I know a lot of you are navigating Medicare and prescriptions and doctor's appointments, and it can feel like a full-time job just managing your health. Here is the most useful thing I've learned in 92 years of doctor's visits. Write it down. Everything. Write down your questions before your appointment. Write down what your doctor says during your appointment. Write down the names of your medications and what they're for. I keep a small notebook in my purse, and I have for 30 years. My doctor in Tucson says I'm his most organized patient, and because I come in prepared, he takes more time with me. He explains more. I leave understanding what's happening with my health instead of nodding along and forgetting everything. The moment I get to my car, you are your own best health advocate. Nobody knows your body as you do. Nobody knows your history as you do. Don't be shy in that exam room. You have earned the right to ask questions and get real answers. If your doctor makes you feel rushed or dismissed, that is a problem worth addressing. You can ask for a longer appointment. You can bring a family member or a trusted friend. You can even consider finding a doctor who listens better. Medicare gives you options. Use them. And here is one more practical thing I want to mention, because I think it gets overlooked far too often. Your mental health matters just as much as your physical health. I know that for people our age, talking about anxiety or depression can feel uncomfortable. We weren't raised to discuss those things openly, but I have watched too many wonderful people suffer silently because they were too proud or too embarrassed to say, "I am struggling." If you wake up most mornings and dread the day, that is worth mentioning to your doctor. If you've lost interest in things that used to bring you joy, that is worth mentioning. If you feel anxious more often than not, or if the sadness just won't lift, please say something. These are not character flaws. They are health conditions, just like high blood pressure or diabetes, and they are treatable. There is absolutely no shame in getting help. In fact, reaching out for help when you need it is one of the most courageous things a person can do. You have been strong for a very long time. Being strong doesn't mean suffering alone. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is simply say, I need some support. I want to talk about one more thing before I wrap up. And this one is the most important. The people in your life at 92, I can tell you with complete certainty, nothing else matters as people matter. Not the house, not the money, not whether you ate perfectly or exercised enough. The relationships, those are everything. I think about the arguments I wasted years on. A falling out with my sister Margaret over something so petty I can barely remember it now. We didn't speak for 4 years. 4 years. And we only had each other. That time is just gone. I can't get it back. I think about the phone calls I kept meaning to make and didn't. The visits I postponed. The times I was too proud to say I'm sorry or too busy to say I love you. If there is someone in your life right now, a child, a sibling, an old friend, someone you've lost touch with or had a falling out with, and you've been waiting for the right moment to reach out, I am telling you, this is the moment. Right now, today. Don't wait until things are perfect. Don't wait until you feel ready. Pick up the phone. Send the letter. Drive the 2 hours. Whatever it takes. Because the thing about being 92 is that you understand, maybe for the first time, fully, that the people you love are not going to be here forever, and neither are you. And that is not a sad thing. That is just life. But it means that the time you have together is precious in a way that is hard to explain when you're younger. You understand it now, though, don't you? I can see it on your face. And one final thought about the people in your life. Don't just wait for them to come to you. Reach out first. Be the one who calls. Be the one who shows up. Be the one who says, I was thinking about you today, and I just wanted you to know. At my age, I have learned that connection doesn't just happen on its own. You have to tend to it, the way you tend a garden. You have to water it regularly, even when you're tired. Especially when you're tired. My granddaughter, Emma, who's 34, lives up in Denver. We talk every Sunday morning. I started those Sunday calls when she went off to college, and we have never missed one in 15 years. She tells me about her week. I tell her whatever's on my mind, and honestly, those Sunday mornings are one of the brightest parts of my week. You don't need dozens of relationships. You just need a few real ones. Nurture them. Show up for them. They will carry you through the hard times in ways that nothing else can. So let me leave you with this. You are not old in the way our culture sometimes tries to tell you. You are experienced. You are layered. You have survived things that younger people can't even imagine. You have built things, loved things, lost things, and you are still here. That is not small. That is extraordinary. Move your body as best you can. Talk to your doctor without fear. Ask for help when you need it and feel no shame about that. Find your purpose and protect it fiercely. Take your sleep seriously. Take your mental health seriously. And say the things that need to be said to the people who need to hear them. Please, please stop waiting for life to start. It already has. It is happening right now, in this moment. I am 92 years old, And I am still learning things. I am still surprised by sunsets and good soup and the sound of children laughing. I am still grateful, most days, for the simple fact of being here. And I want that for you too. All of it now. I'd love to hear from you. What is one thing you've been putting off that you know you need to do? Leave it in the comments below. Maybe it's calling someone. Maybe it's making a doctor's appointment. Maybe it's signing up for something that scares you a little. Maybe it's finally saying I'm sorry to someone who deserves to hear it. Write it down in the comments. Make it real. And if someone else's comment speaks to you, reply to them. Let them know they're not alone in this. Because that's what we're doing here. We're reminding each other that it's not too late. Not for any of us. Thank you for spending this time with me today. It means more than you know.